As you will stay here like 12 months or 1 month, and after you will leave to the US.
Wow, Oussama. I wish you would have told me that before I came.
Episode 7 is titled Drop by Drop, The River Rises.
It's showtime.
In Morocco, sheep roam the fields and Debbie is overjoyed to be there with her one true love, Oussama. Oussama is a 24-year-old man from Morocco and Debbie is a 67-year-old woman from Georgia. I've seen a lot of people type on YouTube that Debbie reminds them of that old lady from Grown Ups, and you're right on the money there. I'll be honest, I don't know about y'all, but I'm at the point where I need to see them kiss or something. I hate to be cynical, but I can't tell if they're just really good friends that have a lot of common interests, such as poetry and painting, or they're a legitimate romantic couple, but I feel like we haven't seen any evidence that they are a romantic couple yet, so until then, I'm just gonna say that they're friends. Also, seem to be the most talented people that we've seen on the show because they both paint, they write poetry, they're artists. And artists are a special kind of category on the show 90 Day Fiancé because they produce content that we can review together on the channel. So right away, I'm invested.
I really miss you.
Right.
I just miss you more.
I missed you too.
It's like I feel safe, secure, happy. It's like I'm young again and everything is bright and the future is like for us to take and to do good with.
Debbie, that's great that you feel young. You know, you're only as young as you feel. I've heard that saying said multiple times, but you are a 67-year-old woman wilding out in Morocco right now. In the last episode we watched together as a family, Julie and her son begged her at the airport to not go to Morocco to entertain this relationship with Oussama. But here we are.
It's like this is my new normal.
Yep.
My strange new normal.
Strange new normal, an interesting choice of words, Debbie, because in the last episode you spoke about your strange love connection with Oussama. I'm seeing you use that word strange a lot. Debbie admitted to the audience during her introduction that she grew up with a mother that wasn't really there for her and was never shown stability, especially in relationships. She's always been artistic and she prides herself on not thinking like other people and coming at things from a different angle. So when she's using the word strange, I think in her brain it's making the relationship different and romanticizing the situation. We have this strange connection. He understands me like no one else does. Debbie is fun, quirky, and overall seems like a nice person, so I'm not surprised the majority of the fans are rooting for her. However, as we've seen from the last episode, Oussama doesn't have the same intentions in this relationship as Debbie does. In the car ride, Debbie sees cows outside the window, and Oussama communicates to her that he has cows on his family farm.
There's 2 cows and a baby.
A baby cow.
Yep, a
I
baby
can
cow.
pet it.
Yep.
I'm gonna be Farmer Debbie.
Yeah.
Oussama adds that on this trip he's going to teach Debbie how to milk a cow, and I'm living for the 90 Day Fiancé farm content. That would actually be a really funny scene to see.
Oussama and I plan to stay a couple of days in the capital city of Rabat. And then we're gonna go meet Mom and Dad in Cameo, which is about an hour or so away.
There's just one itty bitty little problem, Debbie. Oussama, your soulmate, doesn't plan on marrying you on this trip. Not to mention the last episode, he openly communicated that to the audience, which is so insulting to Debbie, an elderly woman that is uprooting her entire life in America, getting berated by her children. Her children are so against this move. She still full sends it over there to Morocco, and he doesn't have enough respect or consideration for her to be honest with her. The bare minimum in a relationship. And it's especially tilting to watch as an audience member because this man is sending mixed signals. He openly tells her he loves her, he plays the guitar for her, he writes her poetry, he does a lot of things that someone could take as, oh, we're shattering the matrix and we're just gonna live together and be souls together. Regardless of age, it doesn't matter to him. He loves me for me and who I am. He really sees me. That's how Debbie feels. He writes all his poetry in English to reach a wider audience. So we know what this is about, y'all. Getting on one of the most watched TV shows in America to broadcast your poetry to a wide audience. In the car ride to their hotel, Debbie feels like it's an appropriate time to start discussing their expectations for each other in this relationship. So Debbie asks Oussama what his expectations of her are as a wife because she's under the impression they're gonna get married in the 90 days because they're on the show 90 Day Fiancé.
I want you like to be like half Moroccan woman.
Half of a Moroccan woman.
Like cooking food in home, cleaning my clothes.
Man wants traditional gender roles but doesn't want to get a job. Interesting. Dude said in the last episode that he can't work because hard work kills the creations. Him saying this is so triggering for everyone that's working hard and also being creative and doing everything they can to get from point A to point B and make their dreams come true. Man's talking about traditional roles. How about do your own laundry at 24 years old, you kid?
Yeah, traditional roles.
Tradition, yeah. But when we go home, we will know.
What do you mean I'll know?
Because in the home, we will try this.
The audacity of this man certainly shows a lack of maturity as well, because he wants Debbie to cook for him, do his laundry, basically wipe his ass for him while he paints and does poetry. She does those things as well. In a relationship setting, you want this woman to uproot her entire life, move to your country, put you on, do a lot of acts of service, and do things for you to make your life easier. How are you planning on making her life easier, Oussama? What are the compromises that you're gonna make in this relationship? Because she also does the same things that you do. So is her artwork not as important as your artwork?
What you talking about?
In home. When we go to the
Oh,
home.
we're gonna practice at your house?
Yep. Practice cooking food. My mother will learn you. Well, we will act like you are a Moroccan woman.
Debbie, look at me. We only have so much time on this earth, especially you, because you're older, right? So why would you enter a relationship with someone that's very self-serving? And if you have to compromise yourself for a relationship to work and you're not getting those heals back, why take up the role of the healer?
It depends about you if you have, if you have patience
Yeah.
to do this.
What Oussama needs to realize is the concept of time lost. The time that Debbie is losing doing your laundry, something that's your responsibility, is time that she could spend investing into herself or doing things that make her happy. Crazy enough, Oussama communicates his expectations of Debbie once they're married, but Debbie doesn't communicate her expectations of Oussama when they're married. I was so surprised about this because it just seems so one-sided. Maybe hit him with something like less kickflips and maybe get a job, bro.
I'll try.
Because you know, Moroccan woman work hard.
Yeah, I've
Yep.
worked hard my whole life.
Yeah, I know.
Oussama.
Moroccan women are hardworking. We all know why this guy's saying this to her. This man's a rat. Debbie's gonna be paying for everything because you don't have a job, so why would she have to do all the cooking? If anything, you should maybe make her a meal. The roles in a relationship really depends on the couple. I'm very much an equal partner kind of person, so y'all can both cook for each other. I think it's actually fun to do things together. From the way he's talking about his expectations from her in this relationship, it just seems like he wants a second mom though.
The cooking thing might be a challenge, but I'll try. It is
Good.
easy to learn.
Yep.
And
No, try for me.
sometimes we can get takeout too. you
Yep,
know?
yep, I understand.
And have our wine and our takeout.
For the wine. We can't drink the wine at home.
Oh no, Debbie, this is absolutely a conversation that should have happened before you uprooted your entire life in America and moved to Morocco. Look at what you did to yourself. Now you gotta wash this man's underpants sober. What an inconvenience. On a serious note though, so far we're seeing Debbie make a lot of compromises for this relationship to work, and Oussama isn't making any.
We can or can't.
We can't.
Can we sneak it? A little bit sneaky?
We will lie.
Well, I don't want to lie to your
Yeah,
parents.
this is the point.
I got you.
Yep.
Oh, no alcohol in the house because he doesn't want to lie to his parents, but he has no problem lying to his fiance. Interesting. In the last episode, we saw Julie and Debbie's son say things to her like, Ma, you gotta expect the worst. You gotta look out for yourself. This is a dangerous move for you. She didn't listen to one thing her son said. Fast forward, Debbie lands in Morocco. She's all smiles, but she's hearing things from this man that she hasn't heard over the past couple years of talking to him. Expectations that she was unaware of.
In Morocco, in Islam, it's got it like when you bring a wine.
Hands down, the biggest troll move of all is the fact that he's a Muslim man, a 24-year-old Muslim man from Morocco. He expects the audience to believe that his family's gonna be cool with him marrying a 67-year-old woman that's spiritual. She's not Muslim, she's not Jewish, she's not Christian. It's such a red flag that he's not addressing these very serious issues that they're going to run into in their relationship. For all the Muslim Wetsocks, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. I've read on Google that it's not against the rules to marry an older woman. However, it is very frowned upon. A lot of parents want their children to have children. So even though it's a bit of a double standard, it's more likely that a family would be okay with an older man marrying a younger woman.
You weren't telling me that stuff before. It's like Debbie was good and fine and dandy for you, but now it's like learning how to cook and clean the Moroccan way.
Obviously, Oussama love-bombed Debbie and fed into her delusions about this relationship, only to all of a sudden flip the script once she's actually in Morocco.
I need to be half a Moroccan woman. This was never a part of the plan. Whew, I need a drink just thinking about it.
If this was any of us, our brain would be firing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. This dude really is about to treat the love of his life as the maid for his entire family, and we don't even know if they're physically intimate yet. Until I see them kiss or hold hands, it's cap to me. I don't care what anyone says. Hamza was Muslim too, and he sent Memphis the minute she landed in Tunisia, the first night, and he busted in like 2 seconds. As dysfunctional as their relationship was, they were certainly physically attracted to each other. We could visually see that as audience members. This couple, no. Oussama doesn't seem physically attracted to Debbie in any way, shape, or form. If anything, it seems like he's stringing her along to get what he wants out of this relationship. Once Oussama and Debbie reach their destination, he says to the audience, "I wanted to take Debbie to Riot." No joke when he said this, I thought he said Riot because I've been playing way too much lead. He goes on to say, because she's interested in this type of architecture, this place can be a source of inspiration for her poetry. The couple walks the streets. The city seems like a big vibe.
Do you have reservation?
Yep, Debbie want have a reservation, yep.
Well, we know who's paying for this trip, y'all. The reservation's under Debbie's name.
Here, Oussama, get on my bank account.
You think I'm gonna do something crazy like that?
Anyways, back to the hotel. Debbie and Oussama get separate rooms because they have to wait until they're married to sleep together in the same room. Debbie communicates to the audience that she's fine with sleeping in a separate room from Oussama, even though she's paying for 2 hotel rooms. I've noticed that Debbie's very accommodating when it comes to Oussama's culture and religion. Not to mention, she just got off a 14-hour flight to get to Morocco, then had to drive to her hotel. I'm sure that she's very tired and would just like a very calm evening to have a nice romantic dinner with her one true love, drink some wine, eat some food, and go to bed. Right away, Debbie says that the hotel is just exquisite. Debbie lights up like a Christmas tree walking through this hotel, which is understandable. It's very picturesque. Debbie comes across as very innocent and happy-go-lucky. She seems like the kind of grandma we would all want, minus the whole dating this Moroccan dude part. She communicates to the audience that this hotel is located in an old historic part of Morocco. The hotel features a wonderful inner courtyard with trees, and then the rooms are located around the courtyard. It has a feeling of adventure and romance and intrigue. Like, all those things are my new reality, and I'm loving it. When Debbie arrives at her hotel room, she asks Oussama to go get her suitcase. He says, say less. He goes to get her suitcase. As Oussama's exiting the room, he hits his head really hard, and then Debbie starts laughing and says, he got clotheslined, man. The next time we see these young lovers, they're getting ready for dinner.
This is it tonight. This is my first day.
Yo, that necklace is so flex, especially if Debbie made this necklace herself, because as we know, she makes her own jewelry. She's rolling into dinner with big time Aslan energy, which makes sense because she seems like a woman that would live in Narnia.
You know, I want to talk to him more about, you know, the time frame of staying with mom and dad.
Debbie, this is another conversation that you should have had with this man before full sending it over there to Morocco. No wonder her kids were so against this move. She seems very nice, but also very impulsive. Debbie opens the door, asks Oussama if he likes her princess dress. She's very much feeling herself, and he says yes, he does. She then asks Oussama how long he would like her to stay at his family's house. Debbie's asking this because she's trying to gauge when he would feel comfortable with them getting their own place.
You can stay all the time you want. You can stay 1 month in home, 2 months. I mean, they will never mind.
Well, that's wonderful and generous of them.
Debbie goes on to say things to Oussama like, I don't want to impose on your family. Debbie, you're not imposing on his family when they're going to treat you like a maid and you're going to help out with all the house chores. You're going to wash this man's underpants. Like, he's setting this up for you to be a traditional Moroccan woman, but he doesn't have to be a traditional Moroccan man. So this relationship isn't favorable for you. Her situation living with his family in Morocco is probably going to look similar to when Summit's mom put Jenny to work in the kitchen. What an L this is for Debbie. She went from working with Adam Sandler to this. Oussama tells Debbie that right now it's smart for them to save their money and live with his family. However, I just want to correct him real quick. It's Debbie's money, not your money. So you shouldn't say our money. Then Oussama drops an absolute bombshell on Debbie, and that's that after 2 months, he wants her to go back to America.
As you will stay like 2 months or 1 month, and after you will leave to the US.
This guy has blinded you. This guy has tricked you.
That raises red flags.
When he said this, you could tell that Debbie's stomach dropped because this is the first time she's hearing her man say that he wants her to go back to America after 2 months. Thus far, this man has communicated to her that they're going to spend the rest of their lives in Morocco, and she was under the impression that they were going to get married there within the 90 days. By him outright lying to her and going back on his word, she's starting to question everything that he said to her throughout their entire relationship, which is a lot to to process, especially because this man love bombed her so hard. We have pictures of him singing to her and telling her that he loves her and telling her that they're soulmates and age doesn't matter. He made her feel so safe.
No, Oussamas protects me.
And as we know from the last video, Debbie had children with the man and was with the man for 20 years, and that same dude cheated on her. She has massive trust issues. Her traumatic dating history is something that Oussama's fully aware about, which makes it more messed up in my opinion. It's so sad too because earlier in this video, Debbie was like, "Good morning, starshine, the earth says hello." Like, she was so positive. So for it to just crash and burn like this in the same episode is like surprise Pikachu moment. Debbie was so caught up in the fairy tale aspect of this relationship. What a setback this is. So after Oussama communicates to Debbie that he wants her to go back to America in a couple of months, he says,
"Because I know that you will go back for business, for your home, or for something important."
Listen up, kid. From Debbie's action, she has proved and shown to you that the most important thing to her is y'all's relationship. So you can try and disguise this as you trying to be considerate of her. I'm sure you want to go back to America to be with your family or whatever it is that you got to take care of. You lied. Own up to it, take accountability, don't be a coward. This right here is something that Oussama does all the time. He tries to mask his true intentions or what he wants as him being considerate of Debbie. He's done this multiple times in this episode. It's bullshit. When Oussama's saying these things to Debbie, she is so shook and you can tell. So she tries to once again ask him, "Are you sure? Is this what you mean by this? Do you want me to go back to the United States?" And then he nonchalantly says, "Oh yeah." Oussama then in a roundabout way tries to justify what he just did to Debbie by saying that they need to live in reality. Right now he's communicating to her that these things take time and he wants to see how she interacts with his family before they get married.
Wow, Oussama, I wish you would have told me that before I came.
Very manipulative to not communicate any of this to Debbie before she planned her trip to Morocco. The audacity of this man to try and justify what he just did by saying that he wants to slow play their relationship now when he's been telling this girl that they're soulmates for the past 3 years.
We have to spend some time in reality.
Gut-wrenching to watch Debbie right now. She communicates to the audience that she feels sick. She is shook at that he said that they need to live in reality because to her, they've been living in reality for the past 3 years. There's two possibilities I see. One is that he's starting to feel remorse for trying to finesse this lady, which is why he's pumping the brakes. Or he's just trying to get another season on the show because if she leaves, goes back to America, they don't get married in the 90 days, then they're probably going to be on another season of the show. Debbie explains to the audience that she would have been fine with this scenario, having 2 months to see how they do living together with his family's house, then going back to the United States, if he was just honest about it from the get-go. But because he wasn't honest, she's starting to question everything. In fact, she says right now, this isn't the Oussama that she knows, which kind of makes me laugh because in my last video, I predicted that she would say something like this. "That's so Wetsock, it's the future, can't you see?"
I had expectations and I believed your word to me that you loved me and we were to get married. And now you're telling me you're not going to marry me and this is a 2-month test drive?
Yo, snaps for Debbie. It is so crazy to me that people compared her to the dirty bird Angela Deem. She may be the most emotionally intelligent person we've seen on the show, which isn't much of an accomplishment, but it's something. Debbie isn't getting violent. She isn't screaming or yelling. She is communicating to her partner in a healthy way and holding him accountable.
Because I need to live with you in reality, to see if you accept me in reality, if me accept you in reality.
Why couldn't you tell me, "Gee, Debbie, why don't you come and I'll see if I can accept you in reality or not"? Why didn't you say something like that?
Because if I say to you this, he will not come.
Oh shit, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Right out of his mouth, he admitted it. He's a dirty rat bastard. Let me know what y'all think about this couple in the comments below. I'm gonna be making update videos about them and every couple on the show. If y'all want some one-on-one time with me, please order a Cameo. I'm the #1 Cameo creator in the entire world. Super thankful for y'all watching my videos. Comment below, subscribe. Let's be bad. Follow me on Twitch and on Instagram right now.